The historians all agree that Oduduwa sent his son Oromia at the request of elders of Benin to return with them as ruler of their realm. Oromiya's stay in Benin may have been short, but before he left, a child was born to him who was later crowned Oba, and as is known today as Eweka the First. Oromiya's time in Benin, however short-lived, he was an Oba, and so he was the first Oba after the Oba Dynasty came to an end. He established Obaship in Benin. By implication, therefore, the listing of past Obas should therefore begin from Oromia, as it is listed in the Gariwa's book.
Welcome back to Local Journal, my people. History now one very important thing, very important for everybody to know, because as we did for inside this world, I be for inside this Nigeria, all of us, we all get where we come out and originate from. Some of these tribes that they see today, they span out of some of these major tribes that we get for inside this Nigeria today. We now know about the old ancient Benin kingdom, where be the kingdom of Igodomigodo. We now know how powerful that kingdom did, and we now know say during their reign that time, the Benin Empire now one of the biggest and strongest empire where we get for inside Africa. But now like this, so many misconceptions about this empire don't they go on. Some they talk say the reason why we say Benin no too plenty like other major tribes so we get for inside Nigeria today, despite the whole power we say they get during that time. Now on to say that they use people do ritual that time. But the power we get for inside this video, we go tell us the whole story. He don't come narrate the whole story and he don't come refute all those claims where we say people when don't know anything about history, they talk about Benin Kingdom. Now another sweet part of this whole thing we say it talk about the relationship between the Benin Kingdom and the Yoruba people and how these people interrelate. Una know say the Yoruba people they say they come from Oduduwa, saying that the offspring and the children of Oduduwa na them be. And even the Edo people they get traced to Oduduwa. So for inside this video, Epa go explain how the Benin and the Yoruba take relate. He go explain the whole mystery and the whole war will take place between kingdoms and the first contact between the Yoruba people and the Benin people. Una go listen to them and I go hear everything where Epa talk for inside this video. So for all of us where be lover of history, make we watch the video, make we listen to waiting Epa they talk. But before I play the video where we go watch, if today that be the first time you visit our channel, make you like, make you share and make you subscribe to our channel.
There are those are my esteemed viewers. Once again, I greet you all. There is this impression that the Benins or the people of Edo that migrated away from Benin during the Benin Kingdom did so because of human sacrifices that were carried out. This is not true. As a matter of fact, the reason was because a lot of these people that migrated couldn't relate with the very stern and harsh leadership that were in place by various Obas at that time. Now, notably among them is King Ewuare, Oba Ewuare. Before he became king, his name was Ogun, his younger brother was Ile-Ife Okun. There was this plot to usurp the position of kingship from them because they were very young when their father, who was king as at that time, transited. But this information was readily passed on to them and they guided themselves with it. So in one of those ceremonies leading to coronation, there was an attempt to stab them. Ogun jumped off, took his brother, and they ran into the bush for safety. They were in the forest for years, apparently to hide away from those who plotted against their lives. After some time, Ogun called his younger brother to go and find out what was happening in the city of Benin. But before he left, he made him swear to an oath that he would not betray him, and he left. While Ogun was in the forest, he had encounters with different trees and mystical animals and situations. One of it was the mystical tree that was crying of its roots be eaten up by worms. With the power Ogun has acquired, he commanded the tree to fall down. He extracted these worms from the roots and commanded the tree back to its stand. And after that, the tree was so full of appreciation. And the tree was saying, oh, how could I reward this person that has given me this peace? In response, Ogun said he had a request to make. And what was that request? The tree, as he said, he needed power to be able to accomplish anything he wanted. And the tree said, it is granted. Ogun needed to test this power, and he commanded the tree to fall down and burn to ashes. And this was so. That explained why he became so powerful, why he was king, or when he later became king, that he was referred to as Ewuare Ogidigan, as the title he later adopted. Now, when he sent his brother to go and spy out the kingdom, his brother got into the city and saw that there was peace in the city. An old woman saw him and said, "Are you not Prince Ewuare?" He said, "Yes." "Where is your brother Ogun?" He lied that he was dead. And so the old woman said, "We have been looking for you, for your brother to come and take over the throne. If we can't find your brother, you are equally a prince." And so he was a throne. When Ogun waited for some time, he didn't find his brother. He was afraid that his brother may have come by harm. He decided to sneak into the Benin kingdom to see for himself what may have happened, only for him to discover that his brother had been coronated as king and was having series of ceremony. He was angered and he pursued his brother. He caught up with him at the Emotan spot where Emotan statue is today, near the ring road, front of the Oba market, and have him slayed for betrayal. He was subsequently enthroned as king with the name Ewuare. That explains why his rulership was so stern, why some of his policies were so unfriendly, as it were. To expatiate the hardship or the harshness of the reign of Oba Ewuare, it is on record that when he lost one of his sons, he decreed that the fire must not be made for cooking for 7 days, and couples were forbidden from relating for 3 months. Some of the citizens could not relate with this. They saw it as too draconian. It was during this time that a lot of people migrated away from Benin Kingdom, and some even changed their language because they didn't want to be traced and forced back, because he was a warrior. So the last set to leave the Benin kingdom are the people from Igweben. There were a series of migrants from Benin kingdom, and that is why till today the Igweben language, the Igweben people's language, still largely remain Benin, and their names still largely reflect the Benin names, like Osaige, Omobude, and things like that. And so it will not be correct for anybody to say that it was because of the human sacrifice that drove those migrants away, because Ayowiese is a common proverb in Benin. Ayowiese is ese. If there needed to be sacrifice, it wouldn't be the people of the kingdom. As a matter of fact, in those days, there is what is called ewedo, and there were categories of crimes. Just as you have today, in the present day, you have people who are condemned to death for heinous crimes. So it was in those days. People who were condemned to death as a result of the crimes committed against the state were kept there. If there was need for human sacrifices amongst these people, if that was taken care of, and not for citizens. But like I said, people have to migrate from Benin Kingdom because they couldn't relate with different kingship era. Notably amongst them, the reign of Ewuare Ogidigan, who was very tough. He got that name Ogidigan, Ewuare the Great, because of his experience. It may interest you to know that the people of Igede, for example, in Benue State, have traced back their ancestry to Owan among the Ora people. And you do also know that the Ora people are largely princes and princesses because they are direct descendants of Ozolwa. Ozolwa, before he became king in Benin, was a prince who, out of impatience, wanted to become king. But when the Benin soldiers overpowered him, he left and settled at Onwa, today known as Ora, where he raised a family, a kingdom, before he became king in Benin, the present day called Ife. When he got there, he met people as are then vassal states here and there. He established for himself a community because of the stoic strength and experience of enduring hard times. He was able to distinguish himself within the shortest time. He now had a flourishing kingdom that attracted other vassal states to come and pledge loyalty to him for protection. And then expansionist tendencies were commonplace, and so there were constant wars levied against one community or another. But each time these wars were levied, he ward off with ease. And so this attracted other communities, other vassal states to come and align with him. And that made his kingdom to blossom so very quickly. Meanwhile, the kingdom from where he was banished, the Benin kingdom, experienced worst turbulence with no peace at sight. The Ogiso was so worried And he asked, but we have carried out the wish of the gods. Why are we still having problems? Again, he sent another set of emissaries. Those one went, and when they got there, the gods told them that the experienced, the turbulence and the social upheaval in Benin Kingdom would increase because they have done injustice to an innocent soul, that the heir apparent must be brought and crowned, and the Queen Esago banished. They said, but the heir apparent has since been executed. In fact, he has been banished and executed. The god said, no, he is living and they must find him. So the emissary came back to the palace with this message. The king was confused. Was it not the gods that said the heir apparent be banished and killed? So why is the mixed up? He now called the first group to come and explain the seemingly confusion. The first group then confessed that on their way, this was what happened. The Queen Esago saw them on the way, and she got herself unclothed, and that would have ended their life. And that was why they had to tell the story they told. And so it tallied with this second emissary finding that the prince heir apparent was still alive. The question now was, how do they find him? This had been after years. So another group was now sent to go and search him wherever he is. He must be brought back to take over the throne for the peace, for the sake of peace, to reign in Benin Kingdom. This was not going to be an easy search. They went in search of him. Every community they come to, they will ask. They will describe him. The people will say, yes, they saw somebody like that, but he has since left. They got to her eventually, they asked, they say, yes, that man actually came here, but he stayed for some time and left. Where did he go to? They said they didn't know. They continued their search until they landed at Ife. As soon as they saw him, they recognized him. They said, yes, this was the prince. They greeted him, introduced themselves. He told them that, yes, he knew them as well. And they told him their mission was that they had come to appeal to him to return back to Benin. And he said, return back to that land of vexation? No, that he wouldn't do. After much pleadings for days, he said, well, what he can only do for them is he would send along with them his own son and prince, whom he referred to as Omononya, a pampered son. And this was agreed. So Omononya was brought to the Benin Kingdom. When he came, he looked at the kingdom. He said, this is a blossom kingdom. But if he must stay, they have to prove to him that they wouldn't be unfaithful and unloyal to him as they were to his father. They said they were prepared to go through any test he was prepared for them to put them through. And so, while he was in Benin Kingdom, he related with the daughter of the Duke of Ogiego. And so after a time, he told them he was returning back to Ile-Ife to meet his father, and that he would be back But before he comes back, he wants to give them 7 lies to take care of. Once they are able to take care of those lies, he will then take his decision when he comes back. The people were amazed. How whoever take care of lies? But one of the kingmakers among the 7 kings, called Olia, said no problem. They should give him the lies. He will take care of it. His colleague asked him, Olia, gele gele. He said yes, he will do it. He took the lies. He went back home and put it in the senior servant head and decreed that from that day no razor must touch his head. And so the lies were feeding on the servant head. After some years, Omononya, which the Yorubas called Oromia, came back to Benin. And when he came, the first thing he asked for was that 7 lies. Olia said he was coming, that he should wait. He went home, shaved the hair of that his servant, selected the fattest 7 lies, and brought it to Oromia or Omononya. When he saw it, he nodded his head. He said, yes, if they could take care of lies, it means they can take care of him. And that he was impressed. And so he was prepared to stay. Meantime, they now brought the daughter of the Duke of Ego. That this was the lady you related with before you left. Now he has a son for you. He said, oh, very pleased with it, with the news. He said, now I have a son. He can as well take over the palace. He has the same royal blood. But they said he was very small. He said, yes, they can nurture him. So he left back to meet his father at Ife. And now, while the father was at Ife, satisfied with the progress he has made with his kingdom, he will come out and look and say, is Oduduwa. Meaning, I chose the path of wealth. When he got to Ife, he said, Ile-Ife. That is what the Yoruba has corrupted to Ile-Ife. Ile-Ife, I escaped. That Oduduwa was a common aphorism he was using from time to time to satisfy himself that he did not make a mistake, that he chose the path of wealth, given the blossom nature of his kingdom. So when Oromia came back to stay, told his father that they already have a son through him. They said, very well. So the son was well catered for, well nurtured in Benin. And as he grew into a young boy, he was not talking. So they sent back to the father that the son you gave us is not talking. He said, no problem. He sent 7 magical marbles that they should give him to play with his friend. 3 sets on one side, 3 sets on the other side. One was to use as the striking marble. As they were playing, he struck his opponent's marble and said, Owomika. That was the first language and pronounced word that came from him. This was later to be corrupted to Eweka by the Benins. And so when it was time for him to be crowned as king of Benin, this marked the transition from Ogiso to Oba. That appellation Ogiso had now been abandoned and Oba was adopted. That is why Oromia or Omononya is regarded as the first Oba. Though his stay in Benin was very, very brief, he was the first Oba, while Eweka the first is the second Oba of Benin. This is the link between the Yorubas and the Benins. Now, because nothing was known about the ancestry of Ikaladiran, who will once in a while come out and look around and say Oduduwa, that is where the name Oduduwa came from, that the Yoruba said he descended from the sky. Of course, this is expected because nothing was known about his ancestry, his parentage, and where he came from. So he was thought of or concluded to have descended from the sky. But he was, in actual fact, a banished prince from Benin Kingdom. And regarding the Olia, the king who nurtured the 7 lies that was to be the test for the Benin people, before then, Olia as a title used to be Olia. But because of that act he carried out, his fellow chief said, Olia Gele Gele. That is how Olia no Gele came to be added to his title till today. Olia no Gele. That Ogele was an expression of shock, surprise, how he did it. Olia Gele Gele. Who said Tiawe. So that is the summary of the Benin linkage with the Yorubas.